team pick. Seconds remaining.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game for the We Play Dota 2 series, but right now we are into Game 2 of 4 Friends plus Krilly. That's 4 FC, going up against Artyk here. Yeah, so that is Game 2. The 4 FC was beaten out by Artyk in Game 1, so we'll see if they can pull it back. But one issue is that looks like... Yeah, it looks like it's going to be not possible for Cyclops to get into this game too. They started off without him, and unfortunately there's no real good option to remake without screwing over Dota TV. And so we want to make sure that the viewers that paid for the ticket there also don't have issues with that. So obviously that's unfortunate that we can't get him back on in here. But I'll do my best to solo cast it up nevertheless. So that's going to be what we're looking at here, and hopefully that will be acceptable for now. If it does go to Game 3, we will most certainly get Cyclops in. But yeah, I'm just gonna let them know that we cannot go back into it. That's sad, because I had a lot of fun with that previous cast, but nevertheless, just gotta push on forward, roll with the punches, kind of go with what we got. So alrighty then, so what we're going to be looking at here, jumping on into the draft and kind of focusing on the game rather than that which is outside of it, we do see that there is going to be a pickup of the Nyx Assassin, Shadow Demon, and Queen of Pain for 4FC. The bans out of the IO, the Magnus, and now the Rubik. And then we did see Artyk did pick up the Keeper of the Light, the Lifesteal, and the Bane, whilst banning out the Bat Rider, the Darkseer, and the Gyrocopter. So picking up a similar lineup, Artyk is able to go with that Lifesteal or dish out a lot of damage, but this time they have the Bane in their hands. They're instead going up against this Shadow Demon, whose Demonic Purge is great for peeling up against the Lifestealer's Rage. But otherwise, not really too much to say about that. Lifesteal is still a great counter pick to the Nyx Assassin first pick that came out. And yeah, answering back, they pick up the Keeper Light and the Lifestealer. So great, solid lanes for them. But they do have to make sure that the Shadow Demon isn't going to be too big of a threat for Lifestealer himself. Either way, Queen of Pain drafted up for the mid lane there. Going to be able to dish out a lot of AoE magic damage and team fight very nicely, as well as some early ganks. But Bane is going to be able to provide a lot of presence. The top lane is pretty much already secured for Artyk. They have Bane, Keeper Light, Lifestealer, all three of them going top. And what they're going to do is Nightmare into Illuminate. Your allies can still A-click you out of the Nightmare and kind of use that attack to try to negate it. But yeah, nevertheless, we do see a lot of potential in that lane. With the Nightmare, with the Illuminate, with the Open Wounds, they can burst people pretty hard. I'm curious to see if 4FC tries to go for a 3 versus 3 once again. Last time around, it did not pan out for them too well. The Gyrocopter wasn't finding too much farm at all up on the top lane, not as far as CS goes, and definitely not as far as kills, as he was actually generally on the receiving end of that there. Nevertheless, they can go for that aggressive tri lane with a Shadow Demon and a Nyx Assassin. It's just not the easiest situation to be in, so they might just try to go for a harder carry than Lifestealer and try to outlast him for a little bit of longevity purposes. Either way, they have pretty well flexible lanes now that the Queen of Pain has been drafted. She will probably be on mid, but she could be on the off lane. And then Shadow Demon, Nyx Assassin will most certainly be a part of that tri lane, wherever it may be. Bans coming out. We already mentioned the Rubik, as well as now the Puck and the Templar Assassin. I think the Rubik ban is appropriate considering they... Actually, no, I don't think it's appropriate at all. The Bane and the Keeper Light are going to play supportive. That's pretty much guaranteed. So having a Rubik in the mix, unless he ran on the mid lane, just doesn't make too much sense in my mind. Anyways, the Puck and the Templar Assassin, however, those are great mid bans and would have been a thorn in the side for Queen of Pain unless they got sentries for Quap. Quap can beat out TA if she has sentry wards to land the Shadow Strikes. Otherwise, it's really, really difficult. Either way, Artyk banning out the carries, banning out Gyrocopter, banning out Sven, really worried about having an AoE presence from the enemy, because there's Cleave and Flat Cannon coming out of those two specifically. So they really want to win the single target fights, and they don't want to just be locked out by some AoE. Magnus had been taken out really, really early on. Very wise ban from 4FC, because, I mean, a lot of respect to Smash. He played that super, super well. So we'll have to see. But Nature's Prophet is going to be the final ban coming out of Artyk, which is a little weird, but you know, go with it. It works out. Alright, so it looks like Cyclops might be done for the day. And that's, I mean, it looks like I said, I had a lot of fun with it. But, you know, just gotta go with what we have. And he enjoyed casting for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed his commentary as well. So a little bit of fun there. But either way, I'm just going to be casting up solo from here. And might be able to bring in a guest for game number 3 if it does come to that. Alrighty then, so from there we're going to be looking at what's next for FC. They have their mid, they're looking for their carry selection to try to round things out. They could go for something like a lone druid for either their number 1 or more likely just their number 3 on the offlane. The one thing I really like about lone druid is that Bane is great for taking down one person, but the bear isn't just one person, he's 2. He's got the spear bear and himself, and they both dish out a considerable amount of damage. So with that, Bane is going to be forced to enfeeble one, Fiend's Grip the other, and that just makes it so that he's that much more limited as far as trying to spreading his disables thin. If you go for a dual core with Lone Druid on the off lane and a carry on the safe lane, then you're going to actually be able to really thwart Bane so that you don't even necessarily have to interrupt every Fiend's Grip because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're able to spread things a little bit around, and it works out pretty well in your favor. But there are a couple of weaknesses to it, and I could go into that if they do end up opting for that. But for the moment, still just kind of eating into the reserve time, waiting for that final selection of Clockwork, which is going to be a pretty interesting move for them. Clockwork offlane, very, very strong, but now they're up against a Keeper Light Phantom Lancer. I've seen South American Dota actually go for a suicide lane lifestealer. It's really weird, but it could be lifestealer solo on the off lane, just surviving out with rage, or they could go for an aggressive try. Phantom Lancer doesn't generally like to go for an aggressive try lane because he wants to make sure that his farm is reliable and stable. But in this position, like I said, Bane and Keeper Light give him plenty of room to work with. And I think that, nevertheless, if they wanted to go aggressive, they could do a lot with that there. I've also seen PL solo on a safe lane situation where they could just go Lifestealer Bane Keeper on top and then keep the Phantom Lancer all by himself on bottom, just kind of being a ticking time bomb of potential. But nevertheless, we see 4 Friends plus Krilly going into a position where they're going to pick up Luna as their primary farmer, number 1. I really like this pick because the Moonglaives will be able to cleave down on the Lancer, and if she can overcome his farm, which is pretty common when you're going a solo core versus a dual core, I really think that the Luna will be able to overcome the Lifestealer and the Phantom Lancer. The biggest issue there, though, is that she's that much more susceptible to disables. If Bane isn't interrupted, if they don't stun it with Nyx, Clock, or the Shadow Demon, suddenly Luna is just going to be screwed. She's Fiend's Gripped up, she's going to be focused down before she can lifesteal anything, and it's going to be very, very painful for her.
Windrunner at your service.
Along with that, they will maybe go for a Basher or an Abyssal on the Lifestealer, and when that comes out, there's really very little hope for Luna, other than running from a fight until she feels comfortable to engage. The final selection here, the Windrunner, makes things a little bit weird as far as that laning situation. Like I said, it could be a solo for either the Lifestealer or the Phantom Lancer. I think it has to be in this situation. And then we'll have to see where the Windrunner ends up as well. So interesting draft. The lanes for Artyk I cannot comprehend because the South American Dota, like I said, is quite a different metagame. And there's things that are viable in that situation that I don't think top-tier European teams would stand for. But nevertheless, we'll have to see how things adapt and how things change. Either way, I do like the Luna pickup. I just think that they have to put emphasis on locking down that Bane.
10 seconds remaining.
Mihawk disconnected now. I'm not sure what is going on with him.
5 seconds remaining.
But yeah, we'll go with it. So a quick pause coming out, presumably for that issue there, and I'll actually switch out this. So we do see that I'm going to be the commentary for this one here specifically, and it looks like we do need restart for the disconnected individual, which is just for my own internal notes. It's going to be the Windrunner that's selected there. So, like I said, lanes are going to be very, very difficult to call. Smash played the solo mid last time around. Maybe that'll indicate something. I will definitely going to be picking up that Lifestealer. And these were the 2 support players, so if we're talking about the same roles, we're definitely looking at a solo Phantom Lancer. The question is where? I mean, solo mid seems really weird against a Queen of Pain, that kind of thing. The biggest issue I have with it is if you pick up a Keeper of the Light, Chakra Magic is so good for Spirit Lance, spamming out the Lance over and over and over. I'm not saying it's not good for the Bane, he can Brain Sap really well at the same time, but I just kind of feel if you're not giving... If you get a Keeper Light and a Phantom Lancer and you don't lane them together, it feels like you're losing something from your composition. Nevertheless, it's their choice on how they want to build that up, and we'll have to see. Blomberg was playing that solo safe lane role previously, now picking up the Queen of Pain. That is technically a possibility. If they want Krilly on the mid lane and Blomberg on the top lane, that is viable, and then they can just run Boomski, Zahara, and Ares down on that aggressive tri lane if they so wish. The reason that I would prefer Blomberg on the mid, however, is because of the fact that there's so much better room control for that mid lane hero. Clockwork does generally go bottle as well, but I feel that the Queen of Pain with her rank 1 blink is going to have a lot more presence over controlling the runes, comparatively speaking. So I think that it could be really, really nice for them if Blomberg went on the runes individually, and that would be on the mid lane individually. But we'll have to see. So we're definitely going to see this tri lane grouped up together, and see Queen of Pain and Clockwork solo. It's just under which circumstances, and that's pretty much going to be the same. As far as how things are going to break down in towards the mid game, I really, really feel like 4FC have to have a push and gank mindset in mind. They have to be aggressive. They have to have this Luna initiating fights, getting big eclipses off, going for those team fight ultis with the Sonic Wave, and that's all on the back of Krilly. They don't have any other hero that can really start things off. Technically, Nyx can Vendetta in, but a lot of times you have to worry about Sentry Wards. So again, Krilly, with his hookshot, has a lot of potential to really, really be the starting point for these fights. If they take a fight that Artyk doesn't, they're already on the right momentum shift, because they cannot take a late game fully against a Phantom Lancer. They can take, if Luna has equal or greater farm, Luna can handle a Phantom Lancer, but it's not going to be the preference because you're also going up against that Lifestealer, also going up against that Bane's Disables. So in general, they want to push towers, they want to kill heroes so they can push towers some more. So that's going to be their general intentions, and I think big things like getting levels on Luna early for her Lunar Blessing aura, and things along those lines are going to be a major factor. One thing about the late game potential that I haven't really commented on is the counter of Shadow Demon up against the Phantom Lancer. It does have some potential there because you disrupt a illusion of Phantom Lancer or the original copy there. And in that circumstance, you actually have the chance to, with a proc on a right click, you can actually create your own little army of little cat warriors. So that can be very, very powerful as well. The limiting factor on that is that it's very RNG based, and if they just focus down the 2 illusions that spawn, it's very unlikely that you're actually going to be able to get too much out of that. Nevertheless, it has its potential there because Phantom Lancer does get big late game, as we all know, and we'll have to see exactly how it plays itself out. I'm really curious to see how Iwo's going to lane, if he's going to go tri-lane aggressive or something along those lines. Nevertheless, Mystico gonna call it, and as soon as 4FC is ready, we're gonna go on to this next game. And again, this is game 2 in this best of 3 series, 4FC versus Artyk in this losers bracket of Phase 2, Group Stages A of We Play. As you can see, the icons on the screen there. So this is a interesting tournament set with a lot of different prize pool type things, but now we're deciding between 3rd and 4th. That is an adorable little snow courier, 100% adorable, probably the best. Nevertheless, going up on the top lane, putting a lot of aggression out here, we see a triple branch Tango build coming out of Mystico, which is kind of weird. All things considered, you generally want more consumables on a support, but maybe just wants to see if he wants to go for a Magic Stick up on the top lane. I don't know. Magic Stick is really good try versus try, and he does have enough gold saved up for it to buy it from the side shop, but we'll have to see if that's actually his selection. In the meantime, we do see some regeneration pooled to Phantom Lancer, even more evidence that he probably wants to go by himself. We actually see a bit of a mirror action with all of these guys heading up towards that top lane area, while we see down on bottom 4FC doing the exact same thing in the other direction. Getting the wards up, getting control over this particular area. Ward to block off this pole here. I believe it's still within that big rectangular range, so something, obviously that's not a very good rectangle, but it's an example. They're just trying to block this spawn off so you can't pull there. But if it's a solo safe lane, then you're not going to really have to worry about it. Anyways, the wards aren't actually coming out just yet from Masoku. He's waiting a little bit longer and presumably going to put it actually in this position here. This is a great ward for an aggressive tri-lane because actually look at the Radiant Vision right now. They see everything to this point here. That means anything going on behind the tower, anybody huddling under the tower, you know their position, you know if you can flank them up, you know if you can go aggressive on the guy that's farming up here. So this is going to be really, really good, but it looks like, yeah, it is going to be that aggressive tri-lane. Mystico, Masoku, and Iwo going to be up on this top lane here. Lifestealer, Bane, and Keep a Light all buddy-buddy together, going up against Luna and Boomski, and soon to be the Shadow Demon Ares. Looking at denying a regen rune. Beyond that, not much more to say. It looks like Iwo's going on in, though. Going right immediately with that open wounds up. The Illuminate will strike true, and they'll be able to dive underneath the tower right here. Coming on in, Boomski looking for a good stun on his pursuers. A salve. Beautiful salve from Zahara. He hides inside the trees. He finally gets caught out, but he's safe under the tower. The stun comes through. The tower doing a lot of damage. Second Illuminate does hit, but they are in such a bad spot. Such a bad spot underneath the tower. It's going to be actually a lot of damage coming on in, back and forth. But Iwo doesn't have much more to work with. One more open wounds, he gets disrupted up instead. First blood does come onto the Keeper Light, who got stunned underneath creeps, and I believe this might be 3 kills. Iwo, no chance to run at all, and the right clicks will come on through. Here's another stun coming onto Iwo to finish the job here. He has no rage, but the Lucent Beam hasn't come out yet either. Nice Nightmare keeping Iwo alive, and Mystico will be the only remaining casualty of this circumstance here. Iwo shouldn't have escaped there. Plain and simple. They should have been able to punish that further, or 4FC let him escape, and that was not necessary by any standpoint. But the stun and timing didn't work out for them. They waited a little bit too long, and the Nightmare was able to interrupt it. Nevertheless, down on bottom, 1 versus 1, Smash versus Krilly. He's already doing a bit of damage back and forth. Looks like he's spamming out that Lance, has his Basilius, soon to be a Tranquil Boots along with that. So he can go on this lane pretty hardcore. Krilly having a rough time, 4 CS versus 8. But, you know, that's going to be expected for the first couple of Spirit Lance volleys. Now that he's out of mana, there's a lot less that the Phantom Lancer can do, and there's a lot less for Clockwork to be afraid of. On the mid lane, Bottle comes out for Mihawk. Being able to spam out that power shot is going to be really, really important as he moves in towards levels 3 and 5. But Queen of Pain already hugely up on the levels department. I'm not sure exactly what happened, other than the fact that there have been 5 denies coming out of Queen of Pain, but right now Mihawk is going for a rune, not getting this creep experience. These creeps getting denied, getting killed, and she's not seeing any of this. So we see right now, in the experience department, that 200 versus 400, Blomberg is completely destroying Mihawk, who is only just now hitting level 3 compared to Queen of Pain's 4+. Very, very big deal there, honestly. And Mihawk just taking more and more harassment. Has the regeneration rune to back it up, but if the dot's there, she's not going to be able to actually benefit from it. Up on top, we do see Mystico taking a lot of right-click damage as well as some early burst. Iwo trying to break it down onto Boomski, who's out of mana here, but just right-clicking away, trying to finish off onto Iwo. Masoku, the last one to stand and deliver, sending out 600 range auto attacks over and over and over at their pursuers. But one thing I gotta point out is that I was talking about how much Luna needs some solo experience, needs to get an early clips up, or at least some Lunar Blessing points. In this position here, that's not possible because of the fact that the Shadow Demon and the Nyx Assassin have to constantly babysit on the lane, constantly support their ally, because otherwise Luna won't be able to find farm. So Luna's doing pretty good right now, sitting at 7 compared to the Lifestealers 2. You can't complain about that, but the amount of time that the supports are nearby is leeching away that experience and making it more and more difficult for Zahara to really make the big game impact she wants to.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Alrighty then, so coming on in, Smash, actually Curly gonna take a few hits here, but the Stout Shield in the bottle, keeping him surviving and sustained, will be in a good spot for him. The rune spawn for 4 minutes is gonna be a pretty big deal here. Mihawk will be probably trying to contest directly. The Scream actually doesn't hit, just out of range there, so that was a bit of a misplay from Blomberg as well. The 4-minute rune spawn is actually gonna be on the bottom. They both have vision of it, but it looks like Mihawk is gonna get the first opportunity to head that direction, so gonna be able to bring it up, and the Bottle Crow will come out for Blomberg. So rune available for Mihawk. Could gank with it technically, but I don't know if that's going to be that effective. Creely's still pretty survivable, and there's still so much going on back and forth on the top lane. Going on in, big damage coming on to Luna with the Nightmare, with the Illuminate fully charged. That is actually a rank 1 Illuminate still, prioritizing Chakra Magic to make sure that all 3 of these heroes have plenty of mana to work with, especially the Bane. I highlighted on multiple times over, the early game mana Bane is really, really atrocious, and he's going to have to work very, very hard to actually keep that up, except for Masoku's Chakra Magic, which will keep the entire team pretty well topped off. So, although the experience is really going the way of Queen of Pain, we definitely see that the Windrunner is still going to be able to find hers here and there. The denies are currently 15 for Blomberg, doing really, really good. as far as denies. Actually, up on top, we do see big damage coming out onto Iwo in no man's land, really all by himself here. All he has to do is be disruptive here. Looks like Airs might fall with him, but the power shot, they flank the gank. They're going to be able to bring down the Lifestealer. And now Zaharasaurus is in a really bad spot because Mihawk and that haste rune right-clicking away. They finish off the Shadow Demon with the Brain Tap. They finish off the Luna with the right-clicks. Now going on to Boomski underneath the tower. This is pretty risky considering the Carapace potential, but he actually uses all his mana for that Impale. Only hits on Mystico, and in the end, he falls as well. So that is very, very painful for him and Misoku. Popping off that salve, they're going to be able to be A-okay in this position here. Good movement from Mihawk. Used that haste rune, got some right clicks in. Wasn't the most gigantic impact, but it definitely did help him out in that position there. Really taking back control over the bottom lane. This is what happens when a Phantom Lancer doesn't have mana to work with, and now his Tranquil Boots are broken. He's slower than somebody with boots, and Krilli's staying on top of him 100%. Has that hookshot, uses it to stay on top of him. The cogs keep him inside. No hope at all for Smash. He didn't even skill his Doppelwalk, and he will fall as a solo kill on the bottom lane. Very, very big. I was talking about the Queen of Pains experience. Now look at that Clockworks. 475 because of that solo kill. Really, really fortunate for him. And aggressive play from Phantom Lancer. You don't need this many skill points in Juxtapose this early. It's not going to help you all that much. It might help you to avoid a few shots of this maxed out battery assault, so it helps in some ways, but it hurts you so much in others. So it's definitely something to watch out for. Speaking of, Iwo taking a few hits here. I mean, he has a rank 1 Feast to deliver some lifesteal, but for the most part, he's just getting harassed back, even by as little as a rank 1 Shadow Poison. Where's Windrunner? Windrunner down on bottom? No. Yeah, putting pressure down here onto Krilli. They're going to try to get a revenge kill from what happened to Smash earlier. With that Brain Sap, they're actually going to be able to burst him down. Nightmare was unnecessary, though. Krilli's locked in place already, but they lance him, they right-click him, and they finish the job one way or another. I was wondering where Windrunner was at. Actually going on top lane, we do see the Shackle come out to Zahara, but they actually go for a very unfortunate usage of that disruption. They end up getting the kill on the Lifestealer. Big turnaround here with Krilli buying back, coming up on the top lane and finishing off Mihawk with the assistance of that Nyx Assassin. Go for the hookshot, lands it on top of the Keeper Light and brings him down as well. Triple kill for Krilli and a great rotation coming out of him. Exactly what they needed if they wanted to stay active on this top lane. And indeed they do. They turn it around. They bring down the solo mid Windrunner, the Keeper of the Light, and I believe the Lifestealer fell in that as well. So that's a lot of very, very painful deaths for Artyk. All very, very relevant heroes to be brought down. On the mid lane, just a little bit back and forth. There is going to be that Nightmare. Illuminate might connect here. No, just short of it. Either way. Zahara actually transitions down bottom, feels a little bit too much pressure on that top lane, but coming into Phantom Lancer's territory, you're going to have to deal with him very, very directly. We do see Krilli finding a pick-off. I'm amazed at that, actually. He must have gotten a perfect cogs off, like walked right up to him, got in his battery assault inside cogs, and just right-clicked away. Keeper Light can't do too much in that kind of pendant situation, but I figured his allies would have responded faster. So Krilli playing it very, very close to the chest, but he's able to come out on top of it very, very nicely there. So good game for him. And well played indeed. Now we see Zahara being forced back off the tower, and that's why I was saying that was kind of a mistake to go down on the bottom lane. Yeah, you're not in the threat range as much of those that are being pressured on top, but nevertheless, Smash is in a great spot for himself, and with this Fiend's Grip, turning things around, Zahara falls again. They get a disruption, they might be able to bring her down with the Soul Catcher. Yeah, Soul Catcher, she's just gonna get screamed and right-clicked. So they get good TP rotation to bring down a Bane, but that's just it. It's a Bane who's already used his Fiend's Grip, compared to a Luna who has been desperately trying to find farm this entire game. So we see Luna's GPM, it's down here in the dumpster, 207, not even as good as the Lifestealer, who previously was hardcore shut down. Iwo has found his farming stride, he's at 27 CS, and he's actually overcome the disadvantage that he had early in the laning phase. So really, really big deal. They're clearly finding a hookshot, a beautiful hookshot on Windrunner, might I add. Really, really catching her out 100%. Takes a few tower pot shots, but nevertheless, this is the guy I gotta keep my eye on, because Krilli is all over the map right now. It's kind of difficult being the solo caster and trying to stay on top of every single one of those big plays, but holy crap, is he making them. Krilli is all over the place with this clockwork, and it doesn't seem like it's showing signs of stopping. I mean, he's 6-1-0. Krilli in such a great spot, and every single time that hooks up, he seems to be making some magic happen. Up on the top lane, Masoku in a bad spot. Krilly smoked up. He'll notice his smoke was dispelled and try to change his course right into Mystico here. They'll find him out. The disruption is going to cog him inside with this battery assault. Just doing too much damage here. They're going to be able to finish it off no problem. So that is an easy pick off for them. The Brain Sap does quite a bit of damage, but it's not going to make them flinch even a little bit. They get the pick off. They kill the Keeper of Light as well with the ultimate committed by Nyx Assassin. Using his Vendetta, he was actually able to kill the Keeper of Light all by himself. And that's what happens when you only have a level 5 Ezreal. You're getting under-leveled as a support, and it's going to cost you more and more to try to buy detection to deal with him. So really big turnaround from 4FC, and they still have Krilly's ultimate. Going to heal up in the fountain, maybe TP out the lane and look for some big pick-offs on heroes down here.
Dire's bottom tower is
So
under
I
attack.
was actually really uncertain about 4FC's lineup because they are up against this Phantom Lancer who's been farming so darn well. But on top of that, I gotta say that both Blomberg and Krilly really making things happen. Up on the top lane, big damage coming on through, but this Impale is way too short of range. Oh my gosh, too much damage coming on in. They get the Fiend's Grip out to turn around on Zahara as well. 2 kills. Whenever Krilly isn't involved in something, you know it's not going to go well, because this is just them getting destroyed 100%. But we actually see Krilly being very directly involved in his own demise, trying to initiate on Smash. You get that hook, but you're surrounded by all these doppelwalks, and it makes the battery assault that much less effective. So in the end, a 3-for-0 swing in favor of Artyk as they turn this around completely. Really smooth play from them. And now they're going to look to infest and illuminate down this creep wave and take a tier 1 of their own.
Dire's
Actually,
bottom
second tier
tower
1,
is under
all
attack.
things considered. TP on in from the Nyx Assassin. He will spike Carapace first, Vendetta next, presumably, but right now in a pretty rough spot. Has to be careful. Yeah, goes for them. Vendetta looks for the Deny Tower. No. He's going to go to Bane in the end. Goes for the Lucid Beam, goes to Disruption. They'll be able to close in, but get the Nightmare. Due to the Sentry Ward, they will be able to peel away everybody but Iwo, who is actually going to get locked down here 100%. Here comes the TP, and it's going to be Lucid Beam. No! The cast animation, just a little bit too long. Cleaning it up, the Lifestealer falls. That is what they were pretty much focused on, but they wanted a little bit more. They wanted to try to go for 2. They only got 1 out of it, but it's still 1 that they desperately needed to keep this aggression rolling.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Really trying to hook up with the Windrunner here. Mihawk just able to avoid it very slightly with the phase boots, giving enough mobility that's a little bit difficult to predict, and at that long range, it just wasn't going to connect. Iwo back on top lane. This guy is very persistent. I'll give him that. 100%. Iwo's having a rough time. He's actually sitting at 1, 3, and 2. And his farm, it's technically better than the Lunos. No, it's not even that anymore. 34 CS. But he's finding his opportunities. And with this kill, he's going to be really in a good spot. So good right clicks. He needed that rage to make this happen. He got the bonus attack speed of 60. And that gave him enough right clicks to get that last one in before the TP went on through. So that is a really big kill for him. That is really important. If they're not going to be able to find those picks continuously, then they might as well just 100% rely on the Phantom Lancer to carry this away. But by getting the kills on Luna themselves, Artyk know that their Lancer, or their entire team, is going to be a major factor because they keep on finding these left and right. 10 and 13, they're swinging it back, and we see this gold graph just shoot up like crazy in favor of them. 3,500 gold advantage. We see the experience advantage coming, or disadvantage, coming to a close as they kind of equalize it out here. Krilly looking for a pick. He had some vision from the rocket flare, but only on the tower where he's pushing it up. So in this position here, if they want more, they're going to have to dive very deep, and instead just taking a few tower auto attacks, unfortunately. Going for the hookshot up on the high ground. They had this ward up here. They bring down Mystico. Really good for them. Dire Ward, this is what makes it happen. Mr. Little Tentacle giving them a little bit of a spotter. Defensive disruption on the Shadow Demon. Gonna see a Doppel walk away of Smash, but he gets mana burned out. There is this Sentry Ward down, and Nyx is making sure that he knows it. Forcing him out of this position here. They even get the Demonic Purge on him, but he's so far away with that Diffusal Blade. No, he's not gonna be able to actually be brought down. So, back and forth, the only pickoff is going to be that Bane, but it did cost them time on their tower. So the tier 1 still stands tall. And we'll have to see if there's anything going to change in that department in the near future. Luna exhausting a lot of mana, and Iwo showing how little he cares. He just jumps on in, infests the minion and the creep, and will be able to explode it on out. So that is very effective for him. But Zahara is still finding that farm. Really has been needing it. Krilly gets picked off here. Really good rotation from Mystico and from Iwo. Being able to drop him down is essential. If they can get the Nightmare off, they can technically bring down the Luna as well, but it's such a short range that I just don't see that happening. Now, actually, Iwo walking into a very bad position here. They do see him, they do Vendetta and stun him on out, and from that, they're going to be able to bring him down with a little bit of Magic Burst. Really, really good rotation, and makes them pay a little bit for trying to go for that Clockwork pick. Clockwork was level 11, so it was a really good kill for them, but losing the carry, I'm not sure if it's worth it. In this position here, you want your carry to continuously farm, and he lost a decent chunk of gold as a result. He'll TP on to the next lane, keep it farming up, and it looks like they might be able to get a tower out of it, but it is a lot of time that he would rather be farming. Masoku in a bad spot, disrupted on up. We're going to see that Impale come on through to follow up, but it actually misses. He clicks on the ground, mistimes it, and doesn't click on Masoku himself. The Demonic Purge, however, going to lock him in place, and that should be enough to bring him down right then and there. Smash playing a little bit cat and mouse. Going past the tower, looking for a kill here onto Eris. He is jumping on top of him, and with this last right click, getting really, really good doppelwalk proc, turning around with a nice little bit of lance action. Sorting out his illusions, though, is that Carapace, and Boomski will get away alive. Nevertheless, ballsy play from Smash. Very confident in his current HP and ridiculous agility. He has gotten so many great items to start himself off. There is going to be initiation on to finish off this Windrunner, trying to get on out of the clutches of a Clockwork, but not so lucky here. Going to try to go in for the illusion. Last hit on the tower, right-clicking away, but it is destroyed. Blomberg sets it up for him with a deny. That deny very, very ill-timed. And instead, just hand smash some more cash. Just here, take my money. And in this situation, that sets him up to move in towards a Yasha, later a Manta style. Really, really big for him, and my goodness, these procs. Doppel walk. Or sorry, juxtapose and phantom edges all over the place as they move in continuously to just continue this split push, continue this really, really frustrating amount of copycats running on through. Masoku is being stalked on up. Boomski looking to get the Vendetta off. Will be able to impale it. That was an interrupt. There's the Sentry Ward. He knows something's fishy, and he is going to get locked in place, but here comes the counter initiation. Iwo going on with that rage up. He cares less about the Carapace. The Carapace finally does come on through. Actually almost bring down the Courier. Blomberg can go for it. No, I don't know. Either way, they're going to be able to bring down Boomski here. Trying to, but instead they actually peel it away. Wow, that was actually a really, really big deal. The fact that they could not pick off the Nyx Assassin, and they actually got two kills for 0 in that certain specific scenario, really, really screws over the lifesteal. He needed that kill, and absolutely can't find it. On the other hand, Luna did get picked off. Luna did get dropped down on the bottom lane there, clearly now taking part in Mystico's demise as well. Knows he can't go for the Fiend's Grip because not only the disruption, but most importantly that continuous barrage of the Battery Assault, which will mini-stun over and over and over again to its heart's content. Now, we do see a little bit of back and forth between these two here. Blomberg committed the ultimate Sonic Wave coming on out. Mihawk should die here without the Windrunner available, and Blomberg has the potential to blink down low ground, high ground, wherever he wants to be. He is in a safe enough position to walk right on away. In this case, the trees. 3,000 gold banked up. I'm curious to see. He's going to go for that Orchid, and that's going to be pretty good for picking off a number of different heroes. It's great for adding some disables in the team fight on the Bane. I was talking about how important Nyx and Shadow Demon and even Clockwork have to look to disable the Bane. But now we're actually seeing that it's not all on their shoulders. The Orchid sets it up differently. Lifestealer is purged on up, but Smash dishing out a lot of damage. The Infest will come through, and that's going to be an easy pick off for them. Supports, really, I gotta say, 4FC are throwing their supports in aggressive positions over and over and over that they don't need to be. Like your supports being up on the front line here, they're just got bullseyes on their backs. They really need to start focusing on being with the group and being a support rather than the frontline initiator. We see Luna getting picked off with this Fiend's Grip, but the follow-up damage is not there. Iwo is actually blocked out of this position. Luna trying to turn around with a few right clicks. Mystico just wants to get out of position, setting up the lifestealer to get in the spot he wants. And now they're actually able to bring it down, but they're trapped in place for quite some time. Mystico is going to have to chill out here for a little bit before he can actually escape. The Clockwork Rocket coming on in. Will be able to dish out some damage, but the Brain Sap counteracting that and keeping him topped off. Going down on bottom lane, we see damage coming to Mihawk, really finding another pickoff without even using his hookshot, jumping on in. Gets the dust off successfully onto Smash, and he's going to go in for the kill here, but doesn't have regular vision. No matter how much dust you have to actually have line of sight. And in this situation here, Smash feels confident that he can pretty much do whatever he needs. If the Rocket had been off cooldown, I think they would have gone in, but unfortunately just not any real vision to focus down, and they're not going to get that opportunity. Good attempt on the hookshot, good usage of the dust with that hookshot movement, Not sure if the dust would have caught him otherwise, but nevertheless, trying to close on in. They have this Geometry Sight, and that's what's the most important part. Smash in a bad spot right here. Will get stunned, will get killed. And this is one of the first pickoffs on the Phantom Lancer. He has only died twice here, and I think it's really, really big deal that it's finally come on through. 3,000 gold advantage for Artyk, but answering back 4,000 experience advantage for 4FC. Going on in, a beautiful hookshot coming out of Krilly. He's going to be able to lock down a Masoku using this Observer Ward as the spotter. Being able to just jump on in, they knew exactly the trajectory they needed and found an opportunity to pick off on the Keeper. And without counter push coming in from those Illuminates, they're going to be able to take this tier 1 as well. So really, really shifting the pace so that they're on the aggression. And that's what they need to do if they're going to stay in this game, because right now the drafted lineup, having that Phantom Lancer, he's going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be very scary very fast. And unfortunately, the farm isn't really there on Zarasaurus. If you look at what they have as far as net worth goes, you see only a 4k gold value Luna. Comparing that to a 9,200 Phantom Lancer, a 6,500 Lifestealer. They have a lot of Queen of Pain, they have a good chunk on Clockwork, but Luna is falling so far behind. It's looking like the gyrocopter that we saw from the match before. Very, very unfortunate. Not sure about this Roche engagement. They did go for the move command to make sure the illusions can take up as much as possible, but nevertheless, it's actually going to be a pretty hard kill. They get the medallion that's helping them out quite a bit. Era's spamming that on out, but nevertheless, this is just a really, really rough thing for them to try to accomplish without Luna to provide this Lunar Blessing. Luna farming up in the jungle here and not providing that right-click damage is making this a very, very slow endeavor. They're going to go on in. They might be able to do it, but my goodness, is it going to take a while. So they're bringing it down under half HP. Here comes Nick Assassin to lend his hand a little bit. The good thing that they know is that there isn't much vision. Observer Ward right here, they don't have any understanding. They actually don't know this technically. No good sentries. No, they have the gem. Never mind. They know because of the gem. There are no wards nearby. Finally, here comes Zahara, lending his right clicks, getting the Aegis, and this definitely turned things around in their favor quite a bit. So, kind of sniping up the Roche. It took a long time, but well worth it in their minds. Alrighty then, Queen of Pain. Moving in towards a Scythe of Vice as her next item of choice. I think it's a really, really good move because if you can go for sheep pickoffs on the Phantom Lancer before he starts spreading, he's actually going to be able to accomplish, you're actually going to be able to lock him down pretty hard. So that's pretty much the big thing. He never goes for BKB. So if you know who's who, just pop off a single Scream or a Sonic Wave, you're going to be able to find the real one out and get that disable off to try to lock him down from there. I think it's a really good move. A lot of Queen of Pains go for the Aghanim Scepter instead, and just try to go for covering up their massive amount of illusions that swarm on up on that only 40-second cooldown. It's great for counter-pushing out against a split-pushing Lancer, but against a team-fight Lancer, you're going to have a little bit more, and I think that Scythe device will provide it. A little bit of Sentry Ward spam here, a little bit unnecessary, but not a big deal. Either way, they're missing out. Despite how many sentries they've dropped, they're still not getting the D-wards off, as 4FC actually locks down a couple of wards in the jungle, getting some really much-needed vision in this area here. You see the Observer covering up the bottom rune spawn, down on the bottom tier 1, and now in the jungle. They really, really have good coverage of the enemy's jungle, and they have a lot of opportunities to gank up on these Phantom Lancer. Jumping down in, Krilly will find his hookshot, will burst down on Iwo, but with this armlet, doing a lot. The Blinding Light actually forces Krilly into a great spot. He actually keeps himself alive as a result. The Eclipse comes on through, bursting down on Lifestealer, finishing off on the Windrunner first. Now going for the Lucent Beam, but only on an illusion. Mystico is the next target they need. Screaming him up, they bring him down, slowing up Masoku. He will be dropped as well. Phantom Lancer all by himself just can't do enough, and he will have to fall back from here. He wants to go in, he wants to just poke and prod with lances, but all the low HP supports have already fallen back, and he really has to be careful in this 1 versus 4 situation. Krilly starting it off nicely, and oh my goodness, did the Keeper of Light help him out. The Blinding Light coming from the Keeper actually pushed Krilly out of his own cogs, which forced Lifesteal to stand there for 3 seconds doing absolutely nothing. He ran desperately to the north, but could not escape, and they were able to clean up just about everyone. So Eclipse coming out from the Luna, really, really doing work now that it's finally at its rank 2. And we see its impact right here. Good initiation for FC, and it's all about Krilly setting things up. And now that he has his Aghanims, he can do that all day long. Aghanim Scepter, setting him up. He has a 12-second cooldown on this ultimate, and we've seen how well he's been able to use it so far. Some people debate that it's not really worth it because of the fact that you're not really... You actually can't hook neutrals, but anyways. some people debate that it's not really worth it, based on the fact that you can go for some other major durability items. But for Krilly, the fact that he's landing a vast majority of his hooks, it allows him to make some really big plays that otherwise would be impossible. And I really like how it's turning out for him. So Queen of Pain finishes up that Scythe of Ice, going all in on this pick up here. Look at her mana regen, 20 mana regeneration per second. That means that she pretty much has all the mana she could possibly desire. That means that she pretty much is going to be able to cast out Scream and Blink on cooldown every single time. It's not a limiting factor, unless one key circumstance, and that's if she gets locked down. If she gets stunned, if she gets shackled, if she gets Fiend's Grip, the Fiend's Grip burns mana. The Diffusal Blade right clicks from the Phantom Lancer are gonna really bring some pain as well. So in that circumstance, Blomberg really needs this mana regen. Not only to spam out the spells consistently, but to make sure that she doesn't get fully deprived. If she's out of mana, getting willed on by a Phantom Lancer, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good at all. More Observer Wars, but this time seen by Artyk. Yellow pinging it on out. They know that they need to center that as soon as possible, but they're kind of penned in right now. Krilly keeps those rockets flares rolling, and with this, he has so much range on this ultimate. See, it's range right here, the circle. That's showing that they can jump on in at any point in time on any of these guys right here. Really good potential, and we'll have to see how it plays out. Right now, TPing away though, looking for an opportunity to bring down Iwo. Can go in for that hookshot if he tries to rage TP. Actually, no, he rages. There is going to be a Lucent Beam to follow it up though, or at least a barrage, bringing him down. Iwo crawling on away, shambling on out, but the barrage keeps on going. They're going to be able to bring him down. The TP timing could have been appropriate, based on the fact that Krilly just uses hookshot, but it's just not going to work. In the end, he does take a fall, and that's a very considerable loss. It means that the Lifestealer is not doing much at all. 7,800, he's about as bad off as the Luna, who is, number 3 in farm on her team. So in that situation, they're really just relying on the Phantom Lancer to carry down up. He doesn't have too much contesting him as far as that Luna. Trying to go toe-to-toe with her, he absolutely can. But I'm more worried about how big this Queen of Pain's gotten, how big this Clockwork is getting. Those kinds of things can add up pretty quickly as well. Picking up a Shiva's Guard on Clockwork or something like that could really screw over Phantom Lancer if he can't get an early heart. So we'll have to see. Right now we do see that Scythe of Ice and Orchid already raring to go. That can accomplish a lot right there. Up on the top lane, Mihawk in over his head a little bit, but was able to use the mechanism to just barely survive. Really good usage there. Masoku dropping the Illuminate bombs. There is going to be that Spirit Lens coming out onto Krilly. The Shackle will not latch, but Krilly gets the hookshot away. He will be able to survive for the moment. Trying to get on out of there, but the Lance connects once more. 6 seconds away from that next hookshot. Crawling on in. Iwo doesn't have open wounds just yet. He can hook. He can hook to Luna. He just needs to pop it. He's just going to try to, but no. He actually hooks to Iwo, who body blocks him instead. Oh my gosh. It was a good attempt. It was a good attempt indeed for the Zaharasaurus to be able to peel him on out of trouble, but it just was too much trouble indeed, and he did get locked down in the end. That is actually his 4th death, but it feels like he's been very survivable and escapable despite the aggressive positions he's put himself in. Item selections right now, we do see 2 Ghost Scepters out, 1 for Shadow Demon, 1 for Nyx Assassin. We also see that Phantom Lancer was able to get a pick off onto Luna. She walked down there with half HP. That was her own fault, plain and simple. All he needed to use was one single Diffusal Blade charge, not even that, and he did get dropped down. It looks like the Radiant Courier did get burned down, so I believe that might have been something that Luna was involved in down in this aggressive position. I'm not too sure. But besides the point, the poor, cute little Snowball is no more for the moment. Interesting position for Boomski. It is actually really dangerous, but the one thing he knows is since he has a gem, they don't have Sentry Wards. He can keep on spamming out this Vendetta and just avoid the difficult situations. Looking for a pickoff on Masoku, perhaps. He actually could go on this, and he does. Vendetta breaks on out, the mana burn, the right clicks, but he knows he can't finish the job. And with that, just lets Clockwork finish it off. Beautiful timing, beautiful coordination and communication. They go on in. They knew he would run west, and so they initiate on him here. They point a bullseye. They didn't ping it out or anything. They just said, hey, he's going to go this direction. Why don't you snipe him up? And that last little bit of damage was absolutely the little bit that they needed to make that a 2-band kill. Very effective. Oh my goodness. Krilly is on the mark with these long-range initiations, and I gotta say, it's really, really good for him. But still, he can only do so much. He's an initiator, he's a durable disabler, but he is not a carry, and so all this gold has to be put towards something else.
Boom, there it
So
goes.
we do see that. I honestly think that the next thing that Krilly has to be going for is the Ghost Scepter. Sell the bottle, pick up a Ghost Scepter. What you can do then is trap the Lifestealer in the cogs, and then Ghost Scepter yourself. If that is accomplished, then what it means is that Lifestealer is attacking 0 people. There is nobody else in that little chain of a pit that he can go on, even if he's raged up, even if he's dishing out ready to dish out a ton of damage. If Clockwork is immune, there is absolutely nothing for him to fear. And so he needs to get that Ghost Scepter up pretty quickly. Shadow Demon and Nyx already have the right idea. They've picked up their own. But we definitely need Clockwork on the same page if they're going to be able to pull something out. Looks like next item of choice for Blomberg is going to be that Aghanim Scepter, but eventually that damage does fall off. They have a mech on Windrunner. They're looking for a pipe on nobody yet, but I thought there was a pipe involved, but it might have been on the other team. Either way, probably thinking of last game. Queen of Pain, going for that Aghanim Scepter. Now that she has already tons of disables, she can Orchid, the Bane, ulti, she can Scythe or Ginsu, the Lifestealer or the Phantom Lancer, whoever she wants to solo kill. Even though those two are a factor, going for the Aghanim Scepter will add that extra oomph, add the extra burst of damage that she really, really could use on a short cooldown. It's great against Phantom Lancer, and I really think it will help them out quite a bit. I personally would prefer her just to go for a raw right-click build because he's already got so much intellect, sitting at sitting at around 190 damage. So if she had gone for like not an MKB necessarily, but something where she could go for raw hard right clicks, I think she would scale better into the late game. Because magic damage does fall off eventually, and you do also see that the Phantom Lancer does have Phantom Edge, does have a resistance of 40% instead of the natural 25. TBing away to safely, Smash was in a bit of a rough spot, but was able to get on out. Now being recalled to the front lines to pick up his Heart of Tarask. He actually can buy it outright here, and it looks like that's his intention. Buying out the heart, 1k gold in the bank. He is really beefy, and he's actually going to go in on Blomberg right here. He does have the blink. They don't really have anything to lock him down there, but with the defusal, with the open wounds, they can lock him in place. Krilly, hiding in the trees, jumps in on everybody right here, but he's in over his head. He peels them off of the Queen of Pain, but he himself will fall. And I don't think they needed it. I think that Blomberg was survivable enough that he could have blinked away next, but nevertheless, jumping on it, and Krilly puts himself in harm's way, gets the Queen of Pain out alive, and yeah, that's not exactly where they wanted to be in that position there. Interesting pickups from Luna. Has the Yasha, going to be going for presumably a BKB. There's not that much that it stops, honestly. Like the Shackle Shot is there, but I don't know. The Manta style could avoid both the Shackle Shot and the Blinding Light if it was well timed. So I think it might be a better option in my opinion, especially since it can also break out open wounds. Yeah. There's a lot of individual things that you can Manta, but I guess it's just the fact that there's so darn many of them. There's like 6 different things that you can Manta style out of in this lineup, and just trying to BKB them up. Won't be affected by the Nightmare, and we'll have to see. Damage coming in on the mid tower though, that's going to drop down pretty quickly, down to 175 HP. Not deniable just yet, but it's definitely something to worry about. And look at all this damage. This is where an Aghanim Scepter would be so darn useful. Being able to do that cone of AoE, burn down all these Phantom Lancer illusions. I'm not sure if it would have saved their tier 2, but it definitely would have reduced the damage incoming on that tier 3.
Double damage.
Looking at Roche, trying it once more. Double damage rune, Lunar Blessing up, going on into it with this medallion on Eris. Boomsy's going to take a lot of hits here, but nevertheless, being able to accomplish a lot. Ghost Scepter is not a good idea to use, by the way, guys. It just doesn't really change more than just walking away. You can just walk away from him, and it's going to be able to avoid more damage, as Boomski found out there by himself. Zaharasaurus is taking a lot of hits here. Nevertheless, we'll be able to finish off Roche in a timely manner, pick up Aegis Immortal. Problem is, Zaharasaurus doesn't have any lifesteal. We actually see that he's going for that Yasha into BKB. I hope it's not a Sanjin Yasha. I mean, it could technically be, but I would say that if you're picking up a Sanjin Yasha now, you're pretty much throwing away your potential to win the late game. So, we'll have to see. But right now, in this position here, no Helmet Dominator is very, very detrimental. Anyways, Blomberg does get picked off here. The last right click come on through. They committed the Fiend's Grip for it, though. Clearly, again, in a bad spot. Breaks out of the cogs, but right on into the lifestealer. Open wound to get up. He does use that Ghost Scepter, but without the TP available, he's not going to be able to get on out of here. He does have Hookshot, though. Hooks away to Boomski, who was invisible, and he can just TP right now. Clearly, TPing out of here, does escape. Down in bottom lane, there was some action coming out of Zahara. He does pick up a lot here. Luna actually slowed up pretty hardcore. They will be able to bring him down with just this illusion. It isn't enough, though. They don't focus for some reason. Smash out of mana. Not surviving, from even with this Heart of Giraffes. Too much coming on through. The buybacks went across from the Queen of Pain. She's back in this to burn him down. And they do force out the Aegis the Immortal on Luna. But they lose their Phantom Lancer, and that is very, very painful indeed. Interesting set of exchanges there. As far as who died recently, we see the Phantom Lancer picked off the Shadow Demon. Lifestealer did get that kill on Queen of Pain up top, but Clockwork was able to escape. Just as a kind of a recap, that set them up so that they could TP away, and they could buy back on the Queen of Pain, and that's where they were down on bottom. Shadow Demon was dead, but the remainder, everybody else survived. Luna, the Clockwork, and the Queen of Pain were able to make a big impact on that engagement down on bottom. So it did cost them a buyback. It did even cost them the Aegis Immortal, but the Phantom Lancer has fallen, at least for the moment. The question is whether or not they can do that when he's pushing as 5, because right now, it kind of feels like in those kinds of positions, Phantom Lancer can just keep on doing what he's been doing, and it won't really change things. She does actually finish up the Manta style. I think that's probably the best course of action personally, but now still has that Ogre axe to really, really worry about, so we'll see what they're going to be clubbing on through with that one there, but presumably a BKB. Long term, we're actually going to see Initiation coming in on the mid lane. They pick off on the lifesteal, which is really, really good. Using Krilli's ultimate, he has one more available. Going to go in and hook on to Masoku, finishing him off here. So, despite the mechanism, burst and hard and just wrapping things up really, really nicely. They have some really clean kills coming on through here. So, I think that's really, really important for them. If they don't keep these kills rolling, they're just going to get completely demolished. Right now, they're treading a very, very thin line. They're walking on thin ice because we see here 3k gold advantage at 36 minutes. Given everything that's been going on through, I gotta say that's not too much. The 14k experience advantage is of course a lot, but they need to keep it that way. And you know, there's nothing easier to rubber band than just winning one big team fight on some high HP heroes. Some high-level heroes, I should say. Phantom Lancer Illusion stolen. They could actually use this to push a little bit here on the creep wave. To just give as many juxtapose opportunities as possible. They're going to keep these spamming on through. Down at bottom, they get another pick off. They killed the Bane earlier. Didn't even comment on it because it's such an easy pick. But now going on Smash, they will bring him down. This is insanely powerful for them. They force out the buyback of the Phantom Lancer. The Lancer's illusions are dealing damage to his own tier 3. Now we do see this Zahara Thor trying to TP out, but that Infest will make sure that that's not going to be an option here either. So Phantom Lancer did buy back, but he got the last hit on that Luna, making up a little bit of the gold that was lost. Nevertheless, getting picked off here, and it's all about Krilli. It's all about my man here, Krilli. On the Clockwork has been getting such great initiations off, I don't even know. Like, he's always finding opportunities. He's always getting good vision, whether through observer wards placed in unorthodox locations or getting good rocket flares off to provide him understanding of the enemy's positioning.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Alrighty then, so we do see the Radiant do get the kill on this tier 2 tower. A lot of damage going across. Counter pushing out a little bit with the cogs, forcing the creeps back over and over, using all of these charges here. But that's just a delay. That's just to try to get Luna back up in the action. But still, she's very, very far behind, and although her death timer is short enough, being only level 18, she only has so much to contribute even when she bounces back. Looking back at levels here, this is what I'm talking about. They have a level 21 Phantom Lancer up against a 21, 18, and 18 Queen of Pain, Luna, and Clockwork. The thing is, these supports can benefit so much from just surviving through a fight. If Windrunner or Bane live through a fight, suddenly they're going to hit 2 levels. They're going to go up level 14, level 15. It's going to be a really big deal. And this is something that they have to actually make happen, but right now it's very, very difficult. Boomski, with this Ethereal Blade, is going to be able to just completely destroy Mihawk. I mean, right-click away, going in, there's the stun, there's the Ethereal Blade, there's the Mana Burn, and just 100 to 0. Didn't even need the rocket, but they indeed sent it just to make sure. So Krilli's still on point with that, but unnecessary because they have so much friggin' damage with that Ethereal Blade. So full ganking Nyx Assassin, trying to go all out with some burst upfront damage and make sure that these low HP, low level heroes stay that way for good. Throat is giving out here. I'm gonna have to get some water between the next two games. Hopefully they don't start too quickly. That is if this game goes in favor for FC. Of course, it is a best of 3 series, so if Artyk do pull this one out, they are going to be in a good position, of course, because they'll be taking it 2-0. By winning the match, they would advance into the second and third deciders for that matchup there. They're going to try to figure out who decisively will be moving on into that next round, and into that next set, and that will give them the opportunity to try to fight it out for that second place, and from there possibly advance forward through that stage 2. Smash in an aggressive spot right here, trying to split push away. He will get some damage on this tier 3 if microed appropriately, never kind of wasting it, but he's getting farm that normally you wouldn't see from him. In this position here, I mean, you got to remember this is a Radiant hero in the Dire's jungle, very, very deep, but he's getting recalled back. He feels comfortable in this position here, and I would say a lot of that has to do with good wards, but they're not that good. I mean, they have a Radiant ward here. They know he's not being flanked from the east, and that's about it. So it's really just good understanding of Phantom Lancer's positioning, Smash, playing a little bit deep, but it's paid off so far. Roshan respawning in 3 minutes exactly. That's going to be a really big deal. That is probably going to be one of the most exciting things in this game, is if they can control this Rosh directly. BKB comes out for Luna. We'll be able to negate a lot of dangerous threats. The Shackle Shot, Open Wounds, Infest Damage. Is that an Orchid? Yeah, Orchid is up on Lifestealer, so he is going for really a gank-oriented, burst-heavy build, where he just wants to come out swinging. We do see immediately there's going to be aggression onto Masoku, but Eris is actually the one caught out. Triple hooked, triple cogs. Masoku will die. The question is, well, can Krilly even get out of here? Ghost Scepter's away, walks on out. But here comes Boomski, focusing down onto Smash, trying to burst him down, but with that heart, he's so darn big. Boober gonna take a lot of hits here, but although she gets her Aghanim's off, she will actually fall in the end. So she has to buy back, jump back on into this Smash, out of mana, soon to be out of life. If they can just finish the job here, and with Krilly in this position, they absolutely can. Just cogging it forward, blinding light onto the cliff though. Boomski is gonna have to TP away. TP back safely to home, and that will delay their push. Nevertheless, triple kill comes out. Clockwork doing so much work in that fight. 3-man hook, 3-man cogs, survives with his Ghost Scepter and comes right back to do it again. Beautiful, beautiful play from Corellian. Really, I said he had to be the linchpin of this lineup, and it absolutely is. 100% using that hero so darn well. Did so in match 1, now in match 2, he's doing it just as well. And really justifying his selection of items, his selection of the hero as a whole. Going on in, shackling up some illusions. The buyback from the Phantom Lancer was forced out, so whatever item he'd be opting for, maybe a Butterfly, maybe a Daedalus, either way, not going to be on his, he's still on his shopping list, but not going to be a viable option until he really, really can step up the farm. Looking back at last hits, we see that 355 for the Phantom Lancer compared to that of 249 for the Luna. Really, really puts him on top in that regard, but that kill advantage is just so much. 16, 5, and 13 Clockwork. Yeah, your Phantom Lancer's got 11 kills, but you don't really get to say that much about anybody else. You have 22 kills, half of them are on the PL, but Ezlor's got nothing, Windrunner's got nothing. You're really, really trailing behind when you compare 41 kills to 22, even if it is on the medium core heroes, not the hard carries.
Rock it on!
Couple options for Krilly here with this Mystic Staff. It's going to be either the Ginsu, the Scythe of Ice, Hex Stick, whatever you want to call it, or going on through with that Shivas. But I prefer the Shivas, but he prefers to get picked off. Going on the mid lane here with this Shackle to land and the Fiend's Grip not getting interrupted in any way, shape, or form. There was no hope for him, and he doesn't actually have buyback. By picking up that Mystic Staff, he ran out of cash. 1,200. He's only 140 short, but that's just, 100 gold. What is it? A dollar... I don't know, a dollar short and a day late or something like that. I'm not too sure. But either way, we do see a nice pickup from Boomski. He's going to be able to bring down the Keeper Light solo. So that's definitely what he wants to have happening. But they don't have the potential to contest this Roche. And I told you how essential it was for them to bring this down. If Smash gets an Aegis, which indeed he has the item slot for now, they could easily do whatever they want. Smash with 2 lives is going to be a little bit too much for them to handle. They couldn't contest this Roshan because of the fact that Clockwork got picked, but that was his own darn fault. Krilley out in the middle lane here, out in the middle of no man's land, immediately dropped, and that was so darn painful for him. So they get the Roshan as their trophy for that there. They get the cheese on the Lifestealer. They get the Aegis the Immortal on the Phantom Lancer. So that is going to be an interesting thing there. And one thing that we saw from Artyk last game, I actually just kind of saw it and watched it muted while we were waiting for this match to be prepared, is that I'm not sure which individual did, but whoever played the Templar Assassin was actually willing to stack up cheeses. What they ended up doing, actually, big burst coming on through, trying to burst down I Will before that. Rage comes out, and indeed they accomplish just that, bursting down a Mystico as well. He's in a pretty rough spot. Fiend's Grip will be up in 3 seconds, though, and with the Blink Dagger, he can control that initiation pretty well. In the end, a battle of Phantom Lancer clones versus Phantom Lancer clones. It ends up being the Shadow Demons that come out on top. They're just wailing away. They're pushing out, and he's got quite a few of them, even if they do actually end up being on low HP. Nevertheless, I was just talking about something, but I do think I missed out on it. Either way, keeping those illusions going is his name of the game as he tries to go on in. Krilley's back up and swinging. Going for initiation onto Windrunner right here, bringing down Mihawk quickly. They force out the buyback from the Lifestealer. He is stunning at Mihawk. He will be just destroyed here. There is going to be the Blinding Light committed. The long range Fiend's Grip coming out, but his defensive disruption interrupts that completely. Krilley uses the Ghost Scepter, has the hook shot, can just hook on out, and he does not hit. Unfortunately, his ally was moving too quickly for him, and he will not be able to lock on. Instead, he falls, Boomski gets shackled, and here we do see Eras dropping as well. 3 people lost, 100%, and that is not something you can afford right here. So the buyback was committed on both the Windrunner and the Lifestealer, but they got 3 kills out of it, and they're going to go in for the kill. They still have this Aegis of the Immortal on Phantom Lancer. He doesn't have much mana to work with, but he's not too concerned. He wants this tier 3, and I don't think they're going to leave until they get it and the mid-racks. I mean, they don't necessarily have to. So we'll see their ensuing approach as they move on faster and faster, but there is going to be the buyback coming out from that Clockwork. They also have it on the Nyx. They pop it off on him. Shadow Demon, will you join the party? Looks like not for just yet, but still something that is under consideration, and he does indeed pop off that buyback. So it's going to be a full 5-on-5 if they are willing to jump back on into this, but it's hard. It's really hard to take the high ground in this position, and it looks like it's something that they don't really want to go and pursue. Keep it light, illuminating on the high ground, trying to harass them back, trying to bring down their opponents pretty quickly, and Eris is taking quite a bit from that. So power shots there to illuminate, long-range harassment is doing something, but whether or not it will be enough to reach the high ground, we'll have to see. Smash coming on in, there is the open ones on the Bloomberg, but he is going to be able to just walk away outside the cogs. Beautiful cogs from Krilley, but doesn't survive. He goes sceptered at the last second and just died to the Infest. Mystico trying to get something off, but gets bursted down instead. Smash on the front lines, doing everything he can, and with that mechanism, he will stay up on this position here, forcing out the Vendetta from the Nyx Assassin. He'll try to turn it around here. He has the Ethereal, he has the burst. He turns around with the Ethereal, the Lucid Beam comes out, the Mana Burn does nothing though. The Chakra Magic keeping him back up, and he tries to turn it around. He's actually killing off the Luna. Oh my goodness, he still stands fighting. He pops off the Aegis, he's back down, but Luna is down for good. And this could be the final assault. This could be their last stand. 4FC just about to lose their tier 3s and about to lose their Queen of Pain possibly as well. A lot of damage coming on in. She will be able to blink on out. But yeah, they cannot defend further. Going back on in, these racks are going to be the... What are you doing? He's going for the racks up top. He wants to go for more than just one melee, and it looks like he can manage it. He has so much attack speed with this Agi gain. Level 25, he's sitting at 200 agility, bursting down Boomski immediately. He takes a few hits himself, gets sized up. The Aghanims comes out as well, but the Orchid comes out the other direction. I Will locks in place. Blomberg, they're bursting him down. They will be able to kill the Queen of Pain, will be able to kill the Nyx. The buyback from the Queen of Pain immediately, but their melee are being focused. They burn down this, and this is going to be a 4-rack swing in favor of Artyk. They weren't going to settle for 1. They weren't going to settle for 2. They go for all 4. They get 2 pickoffs, and they actually just break this game not only wide open, but almost steal its fate. The nail is just outside the coffin. They just have to hammer it in down on this bottom rack set. And they actually are going to go right now, no hesitation. Krilley going for the cogs on Basoku, catching him out in technicality, but here comes the Fiend's Grip, locking him in place. Blomberg doesn't actually get, he does Orchid out Mystico, so that means Krilley will survive for the moment. Having to pop off the Ghost Scepter though, he's looking for a second set of cogs in a moment, instead taking tons of damage to the Infest. burst. Here's Mystico looking for just a few more right clicks. Blomberg does do the scream, does do the sonic wave, but still the Keeper of Light survives, and everybody else falling by the wayside. First the Clockwork and the Shattered even, now everybody else. They clean it up, 100% smash. Can't bring down Luna, but who cares? They're all of this time are breaking down the melee and the range. Focusing down on Smash, he was able to invis on out, and it looks like it's enough to keep him alive. Even without his TP scroll, even with only Tranquil Boots, he's able to stay on up, and these creeps are doing a lot of damage to the Trax, but not enough to finish it off just yet. Whew, this has been quite a game indeed, but that's just the power of Phantom Lancer, man. I'm just astonished. 230 agility now that he has that butterfly up. Going in by himself, look at that attack speed, it's ridiculous. I mean, Boomski should be stunning him right now, but doesn't even feel safe to do so. Goes in, bursts down Mystico, he gets a kill, but they lose their 6 racks. And without that many racks, nice Shackle on coming in from Mihawk, bursting down Blomberg, out of mana, out of life, and will take a fall here. Nevertheless, this is it. They have lost it in every way, shape, or form because the racks have gone and now all their heroes with them. Masoku, 6 HP, probably at 4 HP, I don't even know. This guy surviving through thick and thin, and though he might be hit by a Clockwork Rocket, it's all said and done with a good game well played coming on out. Nice move from Artyk, really, really nice play, and in the end, you know, when you see the 28.6k level 25 Phantom Lancer, you gotta know that there's not too much more you can do. It got out of hand fast. I said that the Luna had to keep equal farm. She was the solo carry versus 2 carries, and she didn't just get beaten by one of them, she got beaten by both of them. Generally speaking, all the dual core have to do is have 75% of the main carry's farm. In this case, they outclassed her almost twofold for the Phantom Lancer. 26k versus 15k. They just destroyed this. Broke it wide open, and the support, the awesome play and initiation from Curly, the good follow-up from the Queen of Pain, it just wasn't enough in the end. You can get all the kills you want, Boomski, you can Chaos, you can Ethereal Blade, whatever you intend to do, but Artyk take it away. They carried up a 716 GPM Phantom Lancer in a 50-minute game. There's nothing more to say about that. That's how it went down. They played it out very, very smoothly, winning every single engagement the way they wanted to, and I gotta say, despite not letting the PL and the Keeper Light together, they played in a very, very impressive game. Especially with that raw start. I mean, they lost, what, 2 heroes at the very beginning? First Blood and that second kill. And then following up, the first rotation from Krilly gave him a triple kill. It really looked bleak, but they pulled it through, they made it to the end game, and that's where they shined. Good game, well played. And that's going to be it for this series here. It was a best-of-3 series, and 2-0 once again. It's going to be this time around Artyk beating out 4FC. So they are, I don't actually know enough about WePlay's format to know if they're fully eliminated, but they are going to be eliminated from the group stage as we're going to be talking about it for this week and next week. So I think they're completely out, but I'd have to double check on that. Either way, they have dropped down to 4th place, and now we're going to see Artyk go up against whoever loses the match that's on BTS 1. Whoever loses that match will be going up against Artyk to decide the 2nd and 3rd place individuals for the match, for the game in general, for the group stage, sorry. So I'll pull up the brackets here in just a minute, and you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about here. But yeah, we're going to have one more stream. I believe it's on Beyond the Summit 2, because Gods is going to be streaming some stuff live from RIT, the Rochester, New York LAN. But on BTS 2, we're going to have that next match, the next round, Artyk versus, to be determined, either Na'Vi or Mousesports, whoever wins that best of 3 there. Either way, awesome game from Artyk, Phantom Lancer carrying it up, and well played to them indeed. So that is it. They move on. They are going to be moving on to the 2nd and 3rd place qualifiers, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cast, enjoyed the games. And if you guys want to follow me, you can check me out on twitter.com/blazecasting. That's where I'm at. And that's where I let you guys know about things I'm going to be casting. Right now, I generally cast the Premier League, but I'm probably going to be casting plenty of Beyond the Summit things in the near future as well. So that is what we're looking at there. Thank you guys so much. And going on to the next match as soon as the BTS 1 stream is concluded. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.